Today, we're going to dig into the latest quarterly report from Pennar Industries. But, we're not just here to read numbers off a page. We're going to find the real story that the data is telling us about where this company is and, more importantly, where it's headed.
So, when you see one of these reports, what does it actually reveal? Is it just a scorecard, a quick snapshot in time, or is there something more going on beneath the surface? We think there's a lot more.
Because buried inside all these figures, there's a real narrative. It's a story about performance for sure, but also about the strategy that's making it all happen. And sometimes it's about a deep, fundamental transformation of the company itself. All right, let's get into it.
Okay, so to really get a handle on Pennar's latest quarter, first we need to understand what Pennar is today. And the main thing to grasp is that they've become so much more than just a steel company.
They've really transformed into what you'd call an engineering powerhouse. And what that means is they've basically moved up the food chain. They're not just selling the raw materials anymore. They're delivering these complex, high-value engineered systems. And this shift, it's absolutely crucial to their entire story.
And their scale is, well, it's pretty impressive. I mean, we're talking about a company that makes over 1,000 different engineered products for huge industries like railways and automotive. They're running 13 plants in India and are seriously building up their footprint in the US and Europe. This is no small operation. This is a diversified global player. All right, with that context, let's get to the main event, the Q1 numbers. How did they actually do? Well, the company's leadership sets a pretty clear tone right from the top.
So, the managing director's commentary points to steady performance and strong demand. It's a confident, solid outlook which suggests the fundamentals are in a good place. Now, let's see if the numbers back that up.
First up, revenue growth. A 15.3% jump year-on-year. That is a very healthy sign. It tells us that demand for what they're selling is strong and that they're successfully getting more of their products and solutions out the door compared to last year.
Now check this out. EBITDA, which is a great way to measure core operational profit, grew by over 19%. And here's the key insight. It's growing faster than their revenue. That means they're not just selling more, they're actually making more profit on each thing they sell. That's a huge sign of increasing efficiency.
And that brings us to the bottom line, the actual profit after everything is paid for. It's up over 21%. So you see the pattern here, right? From the top-line sales all the way down to the final profit, Pennar is showing impressive and even accelerating growth.
Those headline numbers are great, but let's actually visualize this to see where all this strength is really coming from.
This bar chart just makes that revenue jump crystal clear. I mean, look at that leap from 733 crores in last year's first quarter to 846 crores this year. Seeing it laid out like this really drives home the scale of that growth in just a single year.
So where's all this money coming from? Well, the domestic market in India is still their bedrock at 77%. But look at that international slice. Almost a quarter of their business is now global. This isn't just some side project. It's a core part of their revenue engine.
Okay, so we've got these strong numbers and a growing global footprint, but this isn't happening by accident. It's all part of a very deliberate transformation. Let's break down the 3 big strategic shifts that are powering these results. The first shift is in their very identity. They started with basic steel products, but they've systematically moved up into more complex components, then to modular systems, and now they're delivering these precision engineering solutions. Every single step moves them toward higher value, higher margin work.
The second shift is their market. Remember that revenue chart we just looked at? This is the strategy behind it. They've gone from being almost entirely focused on India to a company with a US subsidiary, European clients, and global exports. This kind of diversification makes them way more resilient and opens up massive new markets. And the third shift is all about how they actually do the work. They're moving away from old-school manual processes where the only goal was to churn out volume. Now, their plants are getting upgraded with tech like IoT and CNC systems, and the focus is on creating high-value output. It's about working smarter, not just bigger.
So, these 3 shifts explain this strong quarter, but they also give us a kind of blueprint for the future. So, what do these results tell us about where Pennar is headed from here?
Well, the foundation for future growth looks incredibly solid. They've got a massive order book, both in India and the US. They're physically expanding with new facilities. They have deep in-house design and R&D teams, and, this is critical, they have a really loyal customer base with over 1,000 clients placing repeat orders. These are some powerful assets to have.
So, what's the big takeaway from all this? The Q1 numbers are impressive. Yeah, but they aren't the whole story. They're the result of the story. This report is really a snapshot of a company that is successfully pulling off a deep strategic evolution, from a domestic steel producer to a global engineering powerhouse.
And that leaves us with a really fascinating question for the future. As Pennar keeps going on this journey, their biggest challenge and their biggest opportunity is going to be balancing these two worlds, pushing for that aggressive growth in new international markets while at the same time continuing to innovate and strengthen their powerful domestic core. It's a very delicate and strategic balancing act to watch.